Hello, welcome back. This is Siwei, and today I'm going to do a mid-year 2024 housing market update. All right, so bear with me. Let me share my screen and get this process rolling. Thank you for attending, and let's get it started. And here it is. The mortgage rate is 7.02%. Fixed rate mortgage for owner occupied best credit type of buyers level. And so has been going up and down. Let me look at the current rate versus the past few weeks. It has come down quite a bit since several weeks ago, which is as recent as May 29th. The rate was 7.34%. And then even like April 26th, the rates were 7.45%. If you go back to October 19th, 2023 last year, the rate shot up all the way to 8.03%. Then it went down to 6.64% December 15th of 2023. Then so when pretty much up and down swings. And so, given what the reading of the Federal Reserve, it is my belief that this elevated mortgage rate, around 70% or so, will be pretty much persistent, will be remaining this year, perhaps. We can continue to see 7%, maybe slightly lower. And then a lot of experts also mentioned that the 2025 throughout the year, at the most, we can get about perhaps 6.5% mortgage rates. But who knows? And really hard to say. Okay, so year over year, the mortgage rate were almost similar, if a slightly less, lower than same time last year. All right, with that said, let's go over the main article, the main purpose of this presentation, of this video, the Redfin data article, which I use quite often. And here's the headline, dated 20 June, Redfin, home prices hit new high, but buyers gain power as stale listings pile up and price drops become more common. All right. So at the end of this video, I'm going to discuss what are the opportunities for those who are in the primary home purchase strategy, as well as my own input and recommendations for real estate investors. What are the opportunities out there given the volatility of the housing market, not just recently, but throughout the past 24 months? All right, so here are some of the paragraph highlights as mentioned here. Pending sales post their biggest decline since the beginning of March. Buyers are backing off largely because of housing costs are high. Yeah, that's right. And the irony is we are still having near record high housing costs. But the good thing about it is we are moving into almost like a balanced market. I will share that with you. What does that mean in terms of supply of inventory versus demand? We'll get there momentarily. But meanwhile, we have a short periods where the potential buyers have more negotiating power for certain homes only, not all homes. All right, so we discussed that a little bit more. New listings are still near historic lows, even though, because you have not heard, year over year new listings have increased. So we have more inventory coming into the market versus same time last year. There's a lack of new desirable listings for buyers to choose from. So in good markets, in good neighborhoods, in good locations, there's a lack of inventory. All right, that's what's going on. So again, move-in ready homes are in popular neighborhoods are the highest sky high housing demand in many markets of the country. I'm sure your markets as well. By the way, please comment below where are you watching this video from, what location, and share with us what are you seeing in your local market in terms of what's going on. But all right, so let's go over a little bit of the leading indicators. Again, the daily 30-year fixed rate mortgage, approximately 7%, according to the Mortgage News Daily. And anything else we need to go over? The mortgage purchase application is down 12% from the recent high. Let me see what else. And let's fast forward into the key housing market data. All right, median sales price is hitting all-time record. We keep hearing this kind of terminology: all-time high, all-time record high, record low in many metrics. Okay, it's very, sometimes housing data are very confusing. You don't know who is telling the truth, who's not, who are the, of course, we all know that housing crash blows, they're making a killing in the social media because they report clickbait headlines and for the sake of getting views and subscribers, and they are very misleading to say the least. All right. So be careful where you get your sources from. So let me continue. Median price almost 400K ending June 16, 2024. And all-time high. We keep seeing housing prices keep on going up. What's so funny is as recent as the first half of 2022, when the mortgage rate was creeping up from 3% to 4%, then the mortgage rate skyrocketed in the second half of 2020, causing the mortgage rate increased from 3 to 8% in very short periods of time, second half of 2022. And that caused some slight corrections in some markets in the country. And again, the skyrocketing home prices in the past 2 years, plus the elevated mortgage rates, has caused home affordability at an all-time low. Okay. And yet, it's a great, interesting aspect of it. Home prices in the past 3 or 4 years have not decreased, even though the mortgage rate has skyrocketed, as I mentioned. So, housing market is very resilient. Okay, so because of it, it's a fundamental. Just go over the fundamentals. It's economic 101. If demand is greater than supply, then you have either a prices stay stable or home prices will increase. Supply and demand. That's a very fundamental basis of economics 101. Median asking price is $411,000, and the median monthly mortgage payment is $2,781. Now, once again, all-time high. Okay, and we'll discuss more about that. But this is one of the causes of the lowest home affordability index in the history of the U.S. housing market. As far as I'm concerned. All right, so let's go over now. This is a very important metric. Something you need to ingrain this into your brain. This is the most important metric, which is the supply and demand. Right, and 4 to 5 months of supply is considered a balanced market, with a lower number indicating a seller's market. And you can see today, June of 2024, we are at 3.2 months supply of inventory. With that said, we do still have a seller's market for the most part. So consequently, we have less supply than available, but from the pent-up demand. As a result, this is a very unhealthy housing market whereby the sellers are still dictating the price and terms pretty much. All right. Yeah. Again, when demand exceeds supply, home prices have a tendency historically to go up. So that said, who says that housing crash? Except the home crash porn blogs, the doomers out there having a field day in the social media world. So just ignore those people if you can. All right. And so let me go over the graph. Again, this past 2024, the median sales price has increased consistently, partly due to seasonality. Every season, starting the spring of each year, we have a tendency to see increasing home prices due to sales activity. People are very motivated at the beginning of the year to engage in housing transactions. And this past year, or this past spring of 2024, no exception. As you can see, the median price of home have increased 4.8% year over year to 396,000. And if you can see from 2021, 2022, 2023, we have skyrocketing home price increases throughout the past 3 years, much more between 2021 to 2022 than the slight increase from 22 to 23, and then even more price increases from 2023 to up to mid-year to 2024, which is right now. All right, so home prices are moving up. So for those of you who are staying on the sidelines, you're going to be sorry. All right, so anyway, median asking price again has increased year over year by 5.5% to $411,000. We speak based on June 16th. And home buyer housing payments, look at this, which is very sad. That's why the wealth gap is, the margin is very high. The low end of the economic spectrum, they are really falling behind with achieving the American dream of a home ownership. As you can see, back in 2021, where the mortgage rate were at a historical low, 3% or even lower. And back in 2021, because of the home affordability were so low, a lot of people can afford to buy. Those who purchase, they lock in a very historical mortgage rate, thereby would have a lock-in effect going on in the housing market. That's one of the reasons why we have not seen any kind of crash, and we expect to see a shortage of home inventory for, in my opinion, for the next decade, for the next 10 years, perhaps. In my mind, it could be a settled market for that long, because where are you going to find the supply of the inventory, especially with the lock-in effect and the new construction. The builders are not constructing enough new homes to offset the lack of resale inventory due to the lock-in effect and so forth. Does that make sense? Anyway, so the mortgage payments, this is quite shocking, insane. This is mind-boggling. The average median mortgage payments nationwide back in 2021 were a little bit more than $1,500, and it has skyrocketed to all the way to high 2000s in 2022. In 2023, continued to skyrocket in the low 2000s, and then year to date, June 16, the mortgage payment was skyrocketed all the way to $2,781. So we are seeing almost like an 80% increase in mortgage payments between 2021 and now 2024 in a mere 3 years. So many people cannot afford to buy a median price of home in the United States, and therefore the affordability index is at an all-time historic low. So a lot of people are priced out of the housing market, and they are becoming lifetime renters, if you will. Okay, they can be slave to the landlord, and they can be so directly, so blunt. Now, so let's look at the metrics in terms of home transactions. Look, there's a home transaction crash. Okay, there's a big difference between home transaction crash versus home price crash. Right? I'm not seeing any kind of home price crash, much to the demise of all the negative headlines and doom and gloom social media articles that have been put out by the crash bros or out there. So now, let's go with the pending sales. Pending sales right now is at the lowest in the past 4 years, standing at 86,000 homes, which is 3.8% less year over year versus last year pending sales. So there are not that many closing transactions, even though new listings are pretty decent. The new listings are 98,000 as of June 16, which is 7.7% year over year higher than last year, and then but lower than the 2021 and 2022. Okay, And active listings now, suddenly we're thinking, wow, there's so much more inventory is coming into the market. It's gonna crash the market. It's gonna create a lot of a downturn. No, still not just yet. Okay, you need to look at the whole totality of all the data and all the trends and all the metrics before you jump to any kind of adverse conclusion. Because in 2023, which is right here, the active inventory. Okay, here there are 942,000 uh, homes for sale in active listing, which is 16.5% higher year over year. All right. And but still, with the exception of October, November, December, October 2022, when the mortgage rate elevated so drastically that causes inventory to skyrocket during that time, they have subsided since then, the past 2 years. But this spread between last year and this year, 16.5% increase in active listings. One would be concerned about that, but still it is still below the pre-pandemic level, essentially around almost 40% still below the normal active listing inventory prior to the pandemic. All right, so still we are getting a little bit closer to a balanced, healthy market where supply and demand could be at an equilibrium, but still not quite, still settled market. Why? As I mentioned to you earlier, 4 to 6 months is a balanced, healthy market with an equal amount of supply or offset by the equal amount of demand. 4 to 6 months. Again, we only have 3.2 months supply of inventory, so we are not at a balanced market yet, at least nationwide. I know now housing markets are very hyper local. Every location is very different. Okay. So with that said, now even with that, even with 2 months of supply of inventory, it has only increased 0.6% in supply of inventory year over year, and a lot less. Look at 2021 and 2022, we are at less than 2.5 months of inventory, when we are seeing back in 21, 22, a historic low supply of inventory due to the historically low mortgage rates and low prices a few years ago. So we are able to see tremendous amount of multiple offers and bidding wars and to a whole bunch of transactions going on. So 2021, 2022 is an anomaly. It's just once in a lifetime, once in a generation happening in the housing market. So it's not a good metric to compare year over year. So that's the danger of comparing on just a short-term time frame during this COVID area, where it's not you have to use the longer term trend. That you need to use a historical trend based on at least 10-year, 15-year cycle to compare apples to apple. Or right now, we will compare whatever data you have in 2024 versus a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's not really an apple to apple comparison, right? It's just very hard to surmise what all this comparison data looks like moving forward into the future. So we need to continue to get educated more, all of you out there, in order to fully understand what's going on in the housing market. All right, let's quickly go over the remaining area of homes sold at 31 days, which is slightly higher than the past 3 years during the crazy housing boom of the COVID times. 2% of homes are sold above the final list price, and which is lower this year than the past 2 years. And 6.6% of listings have price drops, so we have more slice drops, dropping 2 or 3, 4% from the initial list price. We're seeing that at a 6.6% clip this year, which is year over year is higher than in any of the past 3 years in terms of price drops. And the average home sold at 99.7%. That means homes are sold on the average at pretty much almost at this price, right? Which is a small fraction of pretty healthy numbers. I think that's all I need to say. And again, here's my unofficial analysis of the mid-year report, if you will. based on the Redfin. So you do well, nothing to danger. Yep, it's the status quo going on, and just move on. Things are being stabilized, things are being normalized. All right, so there's no doom and gloom happening out there. All right. So with that in mind, as I conclude this, my takeaway is things are still volatile. The mortgage rates are still very volatile, but there's some corruption in certain areas of the country, but that's not a widespread panic anywhere that I see based on the data. So with that in mind, as I conclude this, if you see any value from this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and also comment below what's going on with your neck of the woods, and to see whether you have seen any kind of unique local trends wherever you live in whatever parts of the country. And also, finally, please subscribe to our email newsletter on the website below. Just click our newsletter database newsletter, and you can become a free member of our real estate investing community. Every week, we put video newsletters into email inbox to will help you learn about all aspects of real estate investing, so you can achieve wealth for yourself and your family. All right, thank you so much for listening. To see what you need, I will see you on the next video. Nice day. Bye-bye.